Three, two, one, and now it's on dot. We are here, two different time zones, two different places, but we're still connected with the CLE, the main man, Daron Branch with the cool shirt. Is that a new fashion statement, or is this just like is that
No.
just an happy accident? As
Is it happy?
it looks kind of dope actually. Like having like it looks like it was like intended.
No. So I picked this shirt off the ground and it was covered in bleach.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I think it just happened so that it's still strong enough that if I pull on it, it won't tear.
Nice.
And I was right. So no, I just wore this because I'm just gonna be hanging out at the house until it's time to go back to Extreme.
Okay.
So I'm in between sessions right now. This morning session was wonderful. It was so good, and it was really fun too. But everything's just going so well right now.
That's good.
Yeah, everything is very good. So, how are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. We just got back from like going fast track. Basically, we got like over the weekend. We went to Michigan. We went to I don't remember the school. I'm sorry. Somewhere in Monroe, Michigan. There was an individual named Josh Hinger. 3-time world champion, and I got to learn the monoplata and his scooping trachea guillotine. I don't know. There's not a quick name. Yeah, the scoop.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got to do that, and it was pretty cool because basically me and Thigh Matt went, and for half of the class for Thigh Matt was basically a review, and so basically he just got the details he needed and then helped me work on like understanding the idea of that type of guillotine, and so it was kind of cool. And it was really fun because Matt was being his autistic self and basically got to get like a free private, like a mini private from Josh, because all he did is like, hey man, I really want to ask you about your single leg. Your sweep single. And Josh is like, oh yeah, we'll definitely talk about that. Nobody ever asked me about that. He's like, yeah.
Watch the mic.
Am I off of it?
For a second, you were.
Okay.
After you said single leg.
It just went away.
Yeah.
This goddamn thing.
No, it's okay. So yeah, he was eager to teach the single leg. Here's the thing, man. When you really talk to somebody about technique who loves to teach and loves to grapple, they'll get excited. And a lot of those people who go to seminars are there for a photo op.
Yeah.
So they'll pay their $100, but they stop drilling after 2 or 3 reps. They're looking around to see where the guy is, and they're just talking about the guy's matches with the other people around. Like, oh, did you see that one time he took the back? Oh man, he's such a stud. And they like barely do the next move. And then some people go there because they realize what's in front of them is this resource, not just some celebrity.
Yeah.
And so if you go to the seminar and you go there and you're like, oh, there's this celebrity who happens to be in the same combat sport as me. Maybe one day I can be like them, right? If you go there with that fanboy attitude, it'll manifest itself and you doing dumb shit and not drilling. But if you go there and you're like, hey, I know that you're good at this, this, and this, or I'm having trouble here and here, what's your opinion? They get really excited and they'll give you a lot of information. And I think it's funny to say that it's going autistic, but I think if you go to a seminar or if you're around someone who's truly great, who's making their time like available to you, if you don't go autistic, if you go fanboy, you are fucking yourself over.
Right.
You're fucking yourself over. Like, ask the questions, get into the positions. Do not just get into this position with your arm around them and the fucking selfie gimmick in your hand. Like, everybody gets that position and they stay where they are.
Yeah.
So, like, it's essential that those opportunities are maximized. So I'm proud of you guys for seeking out new information from top flight guys who are doing it at the same moment that you're attempting to do it, and for carrying on in that manner, for getting to that position and going autistic.
Yeah. Like, we were just like, hey man, we need the details to this, this, and this. Like, I'm not feeling it the way the way you do it. Do it to us. He does it to us. I'm like, oh, okay. That's what a world class.
Exactly.
Oh, that's what a world class squeeze feels like. I'm like, oh, Matt, do it to me. I'm like, oh, you have a world class squeeze too now. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay.
I know, right?
I'm like, oh, that's scary.
You pass that shit on via touch, via the tactile osmosis that is jujitsu.
Yeah, it's like
you pass that shit on.
It's like it was weird. Like, it's like I felt it. I'm like, oh my god, like my whole. I feel like my whole jaw is gonna just go into my throat. Like this is crazy.
I feel like I might die here.
I might die just from you just putting the grip on. And no, it was wild. That was an interesting moment. And like just going up to Michigan for that 2-hour drive, which was surprisingly quicker than going to like Columbus, which I was super surprised about. I was like, oh, that's just 2 hours away. Just go all the way around Ohio and up, and you're there quicker than Columbus. I'll do that all the time. So apparently they have like big, like jujitsu guys coming in. Like they had whoever the Hulk guy is, and
Barbosa.
yeah, Barboza, and some other people. And then they're gonna get JT Torres.
See, people think I don't know things. You motherfuckers, you think I don't know what's happening in the jiu-jitsu streets?
Yeah.
You think I just stay in the land of theory and MMA? No, bitch.
No, he knows.
I know who your little fucking heroes are. I know who you're watching.
Yeah.
I watch them lightweight.
Yeah.
I just don't study them the same way you study them because I don't have to fight those guys right now.
Yeah.
Like if I'm studying right now, I'm studying MMA and wrestling. That's what I'm studying. But like I still watch jiu-jitsu for entertainment. That's how I know who your Lucas the Hulk Barbosa is. Motherfucker.
Yeah. People like that, and I know they're gonna get JT Torres next. And
Okay.
yes,
AKA Spider-Man.
Yeah, they're gonna get him, and I'm like, all right, I'll be kind of.
That dude's a beast. I really like his style. JT is a watchable grappler, and there really aren't that many of those guys.
We were like, yeah, interesting to watch, and kind of exciting.
Yeah, dude, he's watchable.
Yeah, but yeah, that happened over the weekend. So that was a fun weekend.
Hell yeah! Didn't that cowboy fight happen over the weekend, or was that last week?
No, it was this weekend, and he said, I am different. Old cowboy would have quit. New cowboy does not. He said, I couldn't feel myself he was very honest after the fight. He was absolutely like honest to a T. He's like, yeah, I actually was like not really ready to fight at all that day. Like I wasn't warmed up. I didn't want to wrestle. I didn't want to strike. I didn't want to do any grappling. And then I think through the second round, I like started waking up. I'm like, oh, okay, we're fighting now. And now after we started fighting, I started landing. I started piecing them up. I started keeping them away.
It's like that sometimes.
Same Al, I'm sorry.
Like sometimes I've had matches where like in the beginning I'm like, ugh, like I don't really feel like doing this. And then like you get out there and you start grappling. And about like halfway through the match, you're like, this motherfucker ain't shit. I'm gonna mow him. Or like you'll be out there and like halfway through the match, like the guy's winning, and you're like, wait a second, this dude, I will fucking mop this dude. And then you just fucking smash people, or there's the day that you just give up. Like I've experienced all of those.
Right.
That's the thing. Like there was a point where I was competing so often. Like I was so willing to hop in the car and just go somewhere just so we could get any scraps in, right? Basically, like up until the time I got the black belt, but it pretty much for me personally slowed down during brown belt. Brown belt, I became more selective about when I would compete because I felt more of an obligation to my students.
Yeah.
But like when I was just coming up and trying to feel like I was legitimate, I would go anywhere. Like that's why I had that fucking bag full of medals, that box full of medals. There's so many goddamn medals.
Yeah.
It's not like I won so many matches. Like, well, I participated in so many fucking matches. Now these days there's even more opportunity. So like the matches that I was doing, I feel like guys are getting way more matches.
Yeah, there are
like way more. Like I remember I feel like it's funny, like the times that I've come up in two different sports. So when I was a high school wrestler, if you had like 25 to 30 matches in a season, that was considered a lot of matches.
Right.
Like if you had 30 wins, it means you won a lot of tournaments. Like there weren't just that many dual meets. Like you had to be like in the finals of a lot of tournaments if you have that many wins.
Right.
And then my senior year, the schools on the East Coast that we would wrestle, some of those dudes had like 50 fucking matches. And I was like, what? How did they get 50 fucking matches? Like how did they? Well, they were doing all these like quads and like where there's 4 teams and you wrestle all 3 teams in a single day. Right? So you do 3 dual meets instead of tournaments. They were doing a lot of these 32-man tournaments. So they were getting, and we were doing like 8-man tournaments, 16-man tournaments. So they were getting like 2 and 3 extra matches. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like every weekend they were like doubling us up. And I was like, man, that's crazy. But then that started happening in Ohio.
Yeah.
Right? As jiu-jitsu has grown, the opportunity to have matches is also really, really increased. So like when we were coming up in Ohio, in just Ohio, you could pray that a Naga would happen, right? Like maybe Naga will come, and they often did. You had Helson Gracie had a tournament in the fall, and in the spring around the same time as the Arnolds. I mean, at the same time as the Arnolds, at Arnolds, and then that was it. And then Dustin Ware made up the OGC at the time.
Okay.
Right? And that was like a tiny little thing at the time, right? So when the AGC, which was the OGC, became a bigger, I don't want to say a bigger deal, but it was a more prolific thing. Like there were tons of those tournaments. You could compete once every 8 weeks in an AGC, it seemed like to me, right? Then you started seeing Fuji, Grappling Industries. So, I mean, like you have that are coming on a regular basis. Right. So, like, you have way more opportunity. Fight to Win Pro opened itself up to fucking blue belts. You have way more opportunities now as a competitor in that same region than I did. So, those same guys that, like, if you say I got 30 matches, you should be getting 50.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you should be getting 50, 60 matches.
Yeah. Like, there's way more tournaments now. There's way more.
Yeah.
And, like, you know.
People just have to get out, like, and then keep that same in the car pro wrestling style work ethic. Like, be willing to be in the car for 8 hours. Like, if you're like, yeah, I'd like to compete, you know, and I'm like, cool, there's a comp in Chicago. If you're like, oh, that's pretty far. You don't give a fuck about competing. You want to compete when it's convenient, which is fine.
Yeah.
That's called a hobbyist.
Yeah.
And that's fine. You're a hobbyist who enjoys testing themselves. That's one of the healthiest people to have in the game. That's a guy that's going to keep the door open and keep the spirit of the game healthy, right? Because there's guys that just want to come in and say they do jiu-jitsu and put on pajamas and like half roll around too, right? Those dudes are just marks, right? But we need those dudes too. They keep the lights on. And then there's people that like just want to train like sociopaths, but those motherfuckers never have any money, right? Yeah. But we need those dudes too because they inspire everybody else, right? So like, you just have to know who the fuck you are. And if you're like, I'm a competitor, when I tell you that 6 hours away, motherfuckers are scrapping and it'll cost you $100 to buy in.
Should just do it.
You should be asking me about the carpool.
Yeah.
You should be asking me for details on hotel. You shouldn't be like, I don't know. It should be about logistics at that point.
Yeah.
Or you're not who you say you are.
Yeah. Yep. It's all right. It's all right.
It's all right.
It's all right, though.
It really is. Like, it's really all right. Like, you can be any of those entities. You could be the hobbyist. You can be the bitch. You can be the hobbyist who wants to test themselves. You can be the serious competitor. Or you can be the fucking psychopath.
Yeah.
You know? Who's basically a bum. Like, all right, so somebody slid in my DMs today, and they were like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have been smoking weed with you when I was a kid. And I'm like, yeah, I know, right? Like, but I was dumb then. It's like the first generation that came up under me. Like, I was like a reckless motherfucker. I was like 23 years old. And like, if I knew your family, I felt like they know what I do. They know if you're around me, you're doing what I'm doing. Yeah. Right? Like, fast forward to the next generation, which for me at the time is only a couple of years, right? Yeah. So I'm not outing anybody, but the next generation of guy, that same age group, they were like, oh yeah, we've been smoking weed. And I'm like, don't you fucking smoke weed? And they're like, you smoke weed? I'm like, yeah, I'm a fucking grown up.
So I'm an adult.
Like, but it wasn't even like, it's irresponsible. It was about brain shit. Like, to me, I was like, look, you're still developing. Yeah. Like, let yourself fucking develop. Like, you don't want to wake up one day and wonder if you shaped your views of the world around drugs. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if you grow up and you form your own ideas and then you do some drugs, then you're really just adding an angle and you're sprinkling something on it. But if your shit isn't formed, if you don't really know who you are yet, and one of the most familiar things in your life is being high, there's a good chance you're going to seek that for the rest of your life. And like, people say things like, it's a gateway drug. Like, that's not true. Anything's a gateway drug. Right? But like, it's very accessible and it's very easy to fall into those kinds of patterns. Yeah. So like, as I became more aware of that, I was much more cautious about who I would advise to smoke weed, how old that person would be, right? And like their own temperament, you know? Yeah. Like, There's people that like take a little kiss and put it down.
Yeah.
Because if you smoke as much weed as I smoke, you're gonna be paranoid and miserable. You're gonna be in a closet somewhere crying, like like for real, like. And I'm not trying to say I'm smoking. That's not like macho bullshit.
Said,
it's just like
I hit
facts.
trees. I hit trees.
These are just facts, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you don't smoke, if you're not an everyday smoker, and you like weed, you should just, there should be a little kiss, put that bitch down, and then go do something else. Like otherwise, it's not gonna be an enjoyable experience for you. But yeah, I was just thinking back on that, and it's like, yeah, like man, if I could go back in time, I never would have smoked weed with people until they're in their 20s.
Right.
It's not a matter of being a minor or not. It's like maybe like 25 years old.
Yeah.
When your brain is, when it's truly formed. If I could go back in time and not smoke weed when I was a kid, I would go back in time and smoke more fucking weed. But I still suggest that other people don't do that.
It's because you know that younger you would not listen to older you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like.
Yeah. Even if you beat younger you's ass, you still wouldn't listen to yourself, and you'd be like,
I'd be like, "Fuck you, Darren. Old Darren's lame as fuck."
Exactly. And you're like, that's exactly what I thought was gonna happen.
I'm only gonna hang out with 23-year-old Darren. When he was a fucking reckless fuck. Like that's the guy I want to hang out with.
There you go.
Honestly, he was way more fun.
Did he get into more? Did more bad things happen to him or less bad things?
It depends on what you mean. Like,
did you feel like they were bad things for you?
Like, I would say very little bad things happened to me, period, except for like a few awful things. And most of those things, I had something to do with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just don't see it that way.
So I had a good time. That was my glory year.
I was having fun, but I'm having fun now too.
Yeah, it's just different.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
Fun.
There's always going to be adversity and there's always going to be a price. But like, I don't know. Like looking back on my life, I don't see a lot of things to regret except for like ways I've harmed other people.
Yes.
It's the only thing. That's the only thing. Like anything like, oh man, that made my life less convenient, or oh, like I wish I had achieved this or that. No, not really. Wish I hadn't have hurt that person's feelings. Wish I hadn't have, like that kind of shit.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That I would take back. But everything else,
it's like, wow.
Like, made me who I am. I accept it fully. And I accept hurting all those people too. Like anyone I've ever hurt, I accept it. But if I could change it, that's the only thing I would change.
Okay. Fair enough.
So yeah, let's talk about that motherfucking Cowboy fight though. So
yeah.
Cowboy Iaquinta.
Yes.
Him saying like, oh, like the new Cowboy, that's kind of what started that rant.
Yeah.
It was like new versus old, right? And though I don't really truly believe in that concept fully, I do think it was a really great performance. It was well received as well because they gave him 4 out of those 5 rounds, man.
Yep.
And Iaquinta wasn't going away. Like, that's a fucking Sam Al, like that guy. That guy is legit.
Right.
As legit as they come. And at this point, Cowboy wants to fight Conor.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, like, am I crazy? But I don't see that fight as being as marketable as everybody seems to think it is. Like, here's the sentiment that I see in the media. Mm-hmm. And maybe I'm taking it from narrow sources. You be the judge of that for me, Anthony. But
okay.
I feel like the media is like, Cowboy deserves this. Like, let Cowboy have this. And it's like, wait, are we in the business of giving things to people just because they deserve them? Are we in the business of giving people the opportunity to make as much money for themselves and the company as possible? If you're talking about a non-title fight, we're talking about a business decision, a place to make money for all parties involved. Now, obviously, a fight with Conor benefits Cerrone.
Yeah.
Right? But, like, how much does it benefit Conor? Is he a good enough dance partner, name-wise, to be on the opposite side? I think you could argue that he's not. Yeah. I think you could argue that he's not. And as long as there's that argument,
I don't think that matters.
I think you're doing a favor for this man. And I don't know if we're in the business of doing favors.
I don't think that matters in this case.
Why?
Because we're not talking about active Conor. We're talking about layoff Conor. So, like, in that mindset, it's kind of a nice way to ease him back into the public, like, and give him a fight where it's like, all right, this is kind of interesting. It's not like, if we give him Raging Al might hold him down and beat the fuck out of him. But if we give him Cowboy, again, it's more of a way to like boost both people's shares.
But let's not act like Cowboy doesn't have a double leg.
He does, but it's not like his double legs like Raging Al's.
I mean, his double leg's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Straight up.
But it's not.
I think it's pretty good.
It's pretty good, but it's not like. See, it's like it's different. It's different because it's like, is it like Eddie Alvarez's where
different.
It's different where it's that's what I'm saying.
I think Conor had that.
He was in his head.
That fucking psilocybin advantage, dog. Like I've said this on multiple occasions, and I'm not trying to accuse anybody of cheating.
Right.
Right. I think that when I look at the way that he performed, and like the timing and the sharpness and the confidence in it, I think he was seeing things on a different level. I would not be surprised if he was microdosing. Like, I think he was seeing that dude about to throw punches, thinking about throwing punches, and he was punching him in the face as he was thinking about whether he should punch him in the face. You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. I agree with part of that. I agree with half your assessment.
Like,
but the other half,
like he went magic Yoda shit on Eddie Alvarez, and so Eddie Alvarez's double is a non-factor because he was already mentally fucked.
Right. That's the other part of it to say is that like he also like get up taking the fact that Eddie Alvarez was also just not listening to his corner at all. Stop circling to his left. Circle to your left. He said,
dude, he was like, I charm you.
Yeah.
Like he put magic voodoo on him.
He like hypnotized him. And it looks like, and that's what I'm saying, it'll be an interesting fight because also you have all the trash talk. You have all the clips that you can lay up beforehand of all.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk. All right.
Yeah, so
there is a story. I guess there's been a story the whole time.
Right.
Like from the time where he was like, I'll knock the Lucky Charms out of you. Like,
I'll smack the Lucky Charms off your ass. Like, yeah, man, pull you over my knee.
But well, no, that's not what he was saying.
I thought he was saying he was like, he's a...
It was a rape reference.
Oh.
He said, we'll bend your little ass over and knock the fucking Lucky Charms out of you. That's what he said.
It was a rape reference. I thought it was like a spanking reference. Gotcha.
No, he said, all right, so this was at the Go Big press conference, if I recall. So I don't know why I'm able to go back in my mind to this, but I am. Like, of things that really should be stuck in my mind.
Yeah.
Right? Like, my social security number or like...
You don't have that memorized in your head?
No, I do. I'm kidding.
I said, Jesus Christ. What is it?
I'm not going to say it. I just wanted to see if I could sell you on the fact that I might say it so you were trying to stop me. Like,
no, I wasn't trying to stop you. I was going to see what was going to happen. Like, maybe he's reckless.
Sir.
Hey, man, you give out your address. You give out your phone number.
No, okay. Well, the first number is correct, so, enjoy decoding it.
All right, guys. There's like, what, 6 more digits after that, or 8 more digits? Yeah, it's a 9-digit number. But no, you're right. It was in that event, and I guess that makes more sense now. I was like, that's a weird thing to talk about.
Yeah, at the Go Big presser, somebody asked Cowboy, like, what would you do, like, with McGregor? And he's like, he better stay his little ass down at 45, because if you come up to 155, we'll bend your little ass over and knock the Lucky fucking Charms out of you. And, like, right when he was finishing that sentence, Conor cut him off. Like, I would bet money that's what happened. Like, I feel like I remember it vividly.
Yeah, I think.
Because remember, like, I used to be a huge Conor mark, so I would watch those press conferences more than once.
Right. I think he did like a yeehaw. I think it was like a yeehaw involved in that too.
No, I think he was talking. I think he started saying like, "You got to beat somebody who whooped your ass next.
Oh, that's
like,
right. Yeah,
don't even think about me.
Yeah.
Like,
and then
you have some other shit to do.
Yeah.
You better think about that."
And then then Cowboy shot back, and then Conor interrupted again with a yeehaw.
Yeah.
Yeehaw.
Yeah. See, you're a huge mark too. You're shit. So I guess.
Yeah.
I guess there is a story arc there. So, but it's not that it's not sellable. The question is it really a viable dance partner? Like, does that draw enough money? And you're gonna say yes again. Is that true? Is that what you're about to do?
I'm gonna say yes for many reasons. Like, you have like the resurgence of Cowboy, and you can always having Conor be a milestone to break another record in the UFC. I don't remember which one he's like right behind, but I know he broke a bunch of records with this fight.
Well, he has a record the most wins in UFC history is a record that he has and then he broke again in the last fight.
Yeah.
So I think he's like 2 or 3 wins ahead of everyone else.
I think there's like a bunch of records. There was like a list of records that he broke that night. I can't remember what it was. But like he broke a bunch of records. And having him break.
Okay, fuck it, Anthony.
What?
You want your precious cowboy to fight Conor?
I don't care about that. I'm just saying.
Yes, you do. He's your boyfriend now. Just admit it.
But okay, but I got a question though. Who else do you see making a good fight for Cowboy? Because while we're waiting on the dance partners of Dustin and the Russian
Khabib.
Habibi, you got little Habibi over there. The only other person that says, "Hey, how's it going?" is Tony Ferguson, and that's the only other person.
I hear he made an interview or like a promo, and he's like, "Tony's back. I'm back.
Did they sign
I'm back.
Did they,
I'm out here."
Did they announce that yet? I know he was in Las Vegas.
I don't know.
Recently.
I think he may have done something.
Yeah.
Maybe Cowboy Tony Ferguson. That sounds good.
Yeah, Cowboy.
And then you give Conor.
Let's see. You have to pull some people up. You don't want to give him Justin Gaethje because Justin Gaethje might be like, I might want to wrestle today.
Man, if Justin Gaethje versus Conor was like a stand-up fight only, like if you could put it on knockout mode, like in the UFC game, be like Justin Gaethje, Conor McGregor, knockout mode.
Then.
Like, one, Justin would get fucked up, honestly. Yeah. And not just because, like, I mean, it's because he could take it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he would get hurt, and then he would hurt Conor, and then he would get his head knocked off, and because he can take it.
Yeah.
Because he's a fucking crazy fuck. But or I don't know though. Like, say it's round 3, right?
Yeah.
If it goes to round 3,
might.
I got Gaethje.
Yeah, you got Gaethje. So better get on that imaginary.
Because
bike.
Gaethje's so crazy.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know.
You gotta put Conor. Conor needs to get back on his imaginary bike and start disappearing.
No, Conor versus Cowboy, I think.
Yeah.
Now that you have pointed out some points.
Yeah. And then.
Pardon me. I'm more open to it.
Also, you gotta say apologies to Elia Theodoros. I'm sorry about what happened to you. You win some, you lose some.
I'm not gonna apologize. That was the worst fight I've ever seen in my life. There were so many horrible things that happened in that fight. It was so hard to watch, man. Like, for real. Like, that fight was difficult to watch. It was boring and awkward. And like, if you're gonna do weird shit, some of it has to work. Like, that's just all it comes down to. Like, if your whole game is gonna be weird and kind of slow and off tone, it was like he was throwing strikes that were the equivalent of a changeup.
Yeah.
For a baseball pitch, right? There were no fastballs.
Yeah.
Right? It was a changeup. It was like, this is gonna land because you're gonna see it going and you're gonna parry because it should have been here already.
Yeah.
And then it's still gonna happen.
It's still gonna hit you.
It was like that's the only way I can rationalize his striking style in that fight, was that like he was trying to use off timing.
Yeah. Like
use like a jazz beat to catch this guy, since this guy's gonna be explosive and shit, right? You don't go, oh, he's explosive, I'm gonna hit him as fast and as hard as I can. That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to do something else. You're gonna have to use different angles and be creative. Like, I think these are the kinds of words that got said before those fights. Before that fight, either in his mind or in his camp.
Yeah.
And like, there was something about the way that Faraz walked out, Faraz Zahabi. There's something about the way he walked out that made me feel like he was not as invested in this fight as one could be. Go back and look at that and tell me if I'm making up a story. Like, go back and look. And when they're about to come out the tunnel, Faraz is like toward the back, right? And of course you're gonna be toward the back. Like, I'll be toward the back.
Right.
When we come out with Jess, I was toward the back before, right? But there was something about the way he was moving that made me feel like, you don't like this. Like, there's something about this you're not excited about right now. Like, for real.
Maybe he just wasn't with it. It was like a.
But I could be making that up.
Right. I don't know.
But I don't think I am. And yeah, that fight was horrible, man. And I like that guy. He was a nice guy when I met him. But if we're gonna call shit straight, we gotta call shit straight. That was one of the worst fights I've ever watched in my life. Like, it was horrible to watch. Like, am I exaggerating this? Did you find it?
No.
Did you find it was okay to watch?
It was just really slow and just.
You don't seem as appalled as I did.
I don't seem as appalled
I was
because
like,
I'm not.
what is happening?
I'm not that invested in it.
I think I fell asleep at a certain point. I'm not kidding. Like, like I think I passed out for like maybe like 3 minutes of one of those rounds. I woke up and saw him like kind of do a jump off the cage lazy kick thing that didn't work. Like, and I was like, what's happening? Why is this fight happening?
I think I do recall that.
What's necessary about this? This is a co-main. That was a fucking co-main.
Because I was maybe I was barely paying attention. That's probably what it was.
I was like, maybe they were following an old WWE model where like right before the main event you put on what they call a popcorn match, right? So you got to have enough time for everyone to go take a piss and go get snacks before the Undertaker fights Stone Cold. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like before Hulk Hogan comes out, you got to have a bra and panties match so that everybody can get up and go get popcorn and shit. And then come back and watch Hulk Hogan. Leg dropping motherfucker. Like, the main event was great. The main event, Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior both showed up and fought. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that other match wasn't meant to be a popcorn match. It just ended up being that.
It's like back break.
If you're gonna have that co-main slot, you gotta fucking bring it, man. You gotta fucking bring it. And they didn't. No. And Derek Brunson could have done more.
But
he could have done more.
He just wanted to win, dude.
He was being conservative as fuck. And like maybe that weirdness forces you to be conservative. Mm-hmm. But I saw what I saw, and it wasn't fun to see.
Wow, that's true. I guess what we should have been watching was Bellator. Because did you see
I know, right?
Raymond Daniels?
I saw the highlight.
I was like, what the heck? I mean,
okay, so
granted,
what we're referring to, I don't even have to say. I don't have to ask you.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So, famed karateka, famed kickboxer, famed Negro,
yes.
Raymond Daniels.
Yes.
Did a spinning back kick right like to the spot right above your hips. Mm-hmm.